A few years out of college, I've just finished a 9-city tour of the Chitlin circuit when on a routine checkup, the gynecologist discovers a mass in my body, uterine fibroid tumors. I'm told that a myomectomy will remove the tumors and leave my uterus intact, but time is of the essence with this surgery, and I don't have health insurance. I put my acting dreams on hold and get a job at a brokerage firm because it comes with the best health insurance. Blue Cross, Blue Shield, PPO, baby. Now, I can pick and choose my own doctor. And when I call their offices to ask if they have room for me on their calendars, the answer is always yes. And sometimes it's even within the same week. I find a specialist with excellent credentials and get the ball rolling. The tumors are surgically removed, and after 2 months of bed rest, I move on with my life. I move all the way to West Hollywood, California, where on another routine visit to the gynecologist a few years later, I learn the little fuckers are back. I've still got good medical coverage, and I'm advised to watch and wait because the fibroids aren't large enough for surgery. 2 years later, as I'm preparing to schedule the surgery, the 2008 recession hits. I lose my job and the accompanying health coverage to pay for the surgery. I'm desperate to have this procedure, but the only coverage available to me, state-sponsored insurance, will not pay for it. For 5 years, I watch in horror as the tumors grow out of control. One doctor tells me that my uterus likes to make tumors, and if I didn't have a uterus, I wouldn't have tumors. She says the only reason for me to keep my uterus is to have a baby. And since I won't be having any children, I should just get rid of it and move on with my life. I'm left wondering what doctors are being taught in medical school about the uterus. I mean, do they know that the uterus is a major organ that interacts with all of the other organs? And when your uterus is removed, you have to be on hormone therapy for the rest of your life? I mean, do they know that the uterus helps retain bone density as we age? There's an ever-growing list of known side effects that doctors fail to mention when they casually propose to remove a uterus. Another doctor compares my uterus to a garbage bag filled with rocks. You're never going to have a baby with that uterus, so you might as well just get rid of it. I say thanks, but no thanks. I would prefer to heal and restore it rather than throw it out like trash. By 2013, the tumors have grown to the size of a full-term pregnancy. And I've been searching for a job with good health benefits, but my physical appearance doesn't put prospective employers at ease. I'm anemic, exhausted, and in dire need of support. My mother calls and suggests I come home to New York. The Affordable Care Act is rolled out, so I'll finally have coverage for the surgery. And when I go in for an evaluation, I'm told that I've waited too long, that the tumors are too large, and the only viable procedure is a hysterectomy. The unfairness of this sticks in my craw. For 5 years, I've been left to my own devices, desperately trying to figure out how to pay for this surgery. Why do we have a healthcare system that holds our health for ransom? Coming home to New York, the plan had been for me to have the surgery and recover with the support of my parents. But as soon as I see my mother, I know something is wrong. Her voice is still strong, but she's gotten smaller. It seems weaker. She'd become diabetic while I was away and would not take her medication consistently. I learned later that the medication makes her feel awful, which is why she doesn't take it consistently. One night, we have to call an ambulance because a minor infection caused her body to become septic. "Don't you dare leave me in this hospital to die," she threatens me and my father. We all think she's being dramatic, but the body scan reveals that she has metastatic lung cancer that has made its way to her brain. My mother, the teetotaling church lady who liked to wear big hats and never smoked a day in her life, she is diagnosed in April and gone before the end of August. Before this, I didn't know grief, that it could be all-consuming. I walk around in a hazy fog for the next year. And when the fog starts to lift, I remember that I have my own health problems to deal with. So one day, as I'm doing research, I stumble across a little blurb of an article by a Spanish doctor, Manuel Guzman, at the Universidad Complutense de Madrid. And it says that cannabis oil shrinks tumors, whether they're benign or malignant. This leads me to research done by Dr. Christina Sanchez, then to Sanjay Gupta, who in a CNN special apologized for demonizing cannabis in the past and acknowledged its powerful medicinal benefits. The first time I see a live cannabis plant up close, I realize that it is just a plant. The leaves are geometrical patterns of precision. The new buds look like a chorus line of jubilant dancers cloaked in tender leaves and topped with fuzzy afros in the gentlest shade of green. Just magnificent. Cannabinoids are phytonutrients found in the cannabis plant. They can trigger a process in the body called apoptosis. And that causes the unhealthy or mutated cells to die while leaving the healthy cells to flourish. I return to California, where cannabis is legal, and begin ingesting cannabis oil. It works wonders on the body. Within 10 days, I lose 2.5 inches on my midsection. I schedule an appointment with a doctor to request an MRI because I want to know if my tumors are really shrinking. And in order for me to know for sure, I will need a baseline MRI and a follow-up MRI to track the progress. When I return for the second MRI, the doctor asks intentionally triggering questions like, are you upset because your uterus doesn't work anymore? And if you don't have a uterus, you'll feel like less of a woman? He says, I take it upon myself to prick your balloon every time you come in here talking about this stuff, referring to my claim that cannabis is healing my condition. Even though he never outright refuses my request for a follow-up MRI, somehow it never happens with him. It takes me almost a year to maneuver my way through the system and find a doctor within the network who will order an MRI. And do you know what the results showed? It showed innumerable tumors in various stages of degeneration. The tumors were dying, and I had proof I was on the right track. All I had to do was stay the course. During this time, I find my way into cannabis communities and become a migrant worker, bartering labor, caring for the plants in exchange for places to live and access to my own supply of cannabis. I begin juicing the leaves, blending the plant into my morning smoothies. And my dream of healing is transforming into reality until one day a wildfire blows through town and burns everything to the ground, derailing my progress. It's been over 5 years since then, and I'm still fighting for safe and adequate access to cannabis medicine. The laws are changing, but not fast enough. When I first started to learn about all the benefits of cannabis, I kept wondering, what if I had known about this when my tumors were the size of an orange? What if I'd known about this from my mother to help alleviate the pain of her final days? And what about the millions, possibly billions of women and girls who suffer with uterine fibroids? How might this medicine change their lives? It's time to recognize cannabis as the benevolent, non-toxic medicinal plant that it is. We can do better than this for all of our sakes. And for the record, I want my uterus. I need it for me. Thank you.